So let's kick it off. Let's talk about what we watched recently. Scott, do you want to start?
Sure. I actually was in the middle of, I stopped in the moment. I was watching 1923, which is the new show that premiered on Paramount Plus.
You mentioned that you were watching that last time, I think.
No, I wasn't watching 1923. I was watching, this is a spinoff, but I was watching the original series it was about. I was also catching up with watching on HBO. One of the original series that we were speaking about was The Last of Us. So I started catching up. I had 2 or 3 episodes I had left on my DVR, and I'm all caught up with that.
Did you watch this weekend's episode?
Yes, I did. I watched that yesterday. Yeah.
Pedro, you're still in cave mode with that? You're gonna wait till they roll out?
No, I watched the first 4 episodes. I watched up to the episode where they kind of get ambushed by those other people.
Yeah.
And that's the last one I stopped. That's the one I stopped at. I think I'm going to take a break from the show just because, I don't know, 4 episodes in, I'm not too invested in it. And it's not like jaw-dropping. I'm also kind of getting a little bit fatigued with all these like virus, end of the world, end of the population shows and movies going on. It's just like way too much right now. I feel like every other show has that same plot right now. I need a break from it.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. It does feel like a little too much.
It's like the hot topic right now.
Yeah. I was kind of anticipating like post-COVID a bunch of like documentaries about the virus and all this content about the virus and I'm just glad that didn't really happen. The Last of Us, I understand, had been in production for a while, but I'm glad like there's no COVID content because I think we're just trying to forget that whole...
It's coming. I'm sure it's coming. There's quite a few documentaries I'm sure is working. The interviews are probably still in the process right now, and probably a year from now there'll be a whole group of pandemic documentaries. I think we're still too early to be able to watch them because the story's
maybe
still
they're waiting it off, so maybe they don't want to just overwhelm us.
No, one pandemic show's enough for me.
Pedro, what have you been watching?
I've been watching this past week or 2. I've just been watching these soccer documentary series, the ones where they follow a team for a whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched 3 of them now, and they're really well produced. Like, the story plays out itself. It's almost like if it was scripted, but it's not.
Which ones are you watching?
I watched the Arsenal All or Nothing on Amazon. I watched Juventus All or Nothing. And I'm watching the Argentina national team's road to the World Cup.
Oh, okay. Those are all Amazon shows, right?
They're all on it. Amazon has a ton of these now that I wasn't aware of, but they've been working on these for the last couple, like 2 or 3 years now. I think the oldest one dates back to like 18, 19 or something.
Yeah, the first one was Manchester City. I saw that. It was pretty good. I saw the Tottenham Hotspurs one with Mourinho. That one was really good.
Yeah.
And then my favorite was, I watched one years ago on Netflix about Sunderland and their season. They ended up getting relegated. It was pretty sad, but really good at the same time, or because of that, I guess it turned out to be really good.
These series all have like, each season has so much drama, like, it's like I'm saying, like, it could have been scripted and it would have been good. But yeah, even as like I'm a soccer fan, but even as a non-soccer fan, I could see people getting into this because you're getting to know the players, you're getting to know the ins and outs of the organization, how things work. You're even getting to meet like the people that like wash their uniforms and take care of the grass and stuff. It's like
that's the most interesting part. Like, yes, understanding how these organizations work on the basic, like, from the ground kind of level, like who the catering guy is, but also have, like, seeing the players goof around there in training or while they're getting, rehabbing their, post-game, things like that. what they talk about, which is usually just dumb shit like everybody else.
Yeah, it's easy to get invested. It's easy to get invested when you're seeing like the personal lives of some of these players and like the struggles the team goes through as a team throughout the season, and it's good television, man. I wasn't expecting these to be that good.
Check out one of the more revealing ones is a series on Netflix called Captains. It follows, I think, 5 or 6 captains of different national teams who are competing for the World Cup qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
Thiago Silva with Brazil, Luka Modric with Croatia, but also like these one team is Jamaica, smaller team doesn't ultimately make it. There's another like one of these like Asian Pacific Island teams in the middle of nowhere, follows those guys and their journey. You get to see like how they train, how they live and everything. It's really, really insightful stuff. So I recommend that one. I've been watching, like Scott, I've been catching up on The Last of Us. I've been hooked on that show. It's really good. I watched Wakanda Forever recently. I wasn't expecting much, being that Chadwick Boseman is not in the film.
Wasn't it in at all?
Is he in it at all? No, not really. Other than I think in the beginning they do show some footage from previous films. But it's really long. I didn't like the movie. I didn't really care for a lot of those characters. But they do something really interesting with Namor's character. They give him a really dope origin story. It's because it explores like the Mayans, and that's basically like his background. When they go into that world, it's really, really dope.
What was that character? Was he in the first one?
No, he's like a underwater superhero / villain. He wasn't in the first one. They just introduced him here. They'll probably do some more stuff with him because he's actually a pretty interesting character. Great villain in this one. But yeah, it was okay. Nothing crazy. I think Marvel movies have kind of overstayed the welcome or overused the formula. I don't know what you want to say. Like they're kind of boring and predictable these days. So, but I did just want to check it out.
I think their ability at producing films has definitely watered down significantly. They're putting out too much.
I haven't, out of the couple of movies that I've seen, and obviously I'm not following all of them, but I haven't liked any of them. And I really liked all the Thor movies, and this latest one was just bad. Like, it was just bad, in my opinion.
You finished it?
I don't even remember. That's the thing. That's how forgettable it was. I don't remember if I saw the whole thing or not, but I'm pretty sure I watched the whole thing. Because I think Thor and like Guardians of the Galaxy is probably my favorite of all the movies.
Mm-hmm. Thor 2 was really good.
Yeah, but...
No, I'm sorry. Wow, they made 4 Thor movies already. So the third one...
Rock, right? You're telling me.
Yeah, I can't believe they made 4 of those ones.
I was hoping this one would be similar to it. Because it kind of had like the same like marketing / like...
Yeah, it was similar to it. I watched the first 15 minutes and then I had to turn it off because it was just too stupid. It was kind of like a parody of itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just kind of like jumped the shark. old expression.
They're not what they used to be. So I think I'm gonna check out Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be like my final test on if I'm gonna keep even bothering with these movies.
Are you going to the movies for that though?
I don't know. I might even wait to see, a week or so to hear if it's really bad or not, like all the recent movies coming out. And if it is, then might not even bother with it. But that might be the last litmus test I do for, because if they mess that up, like, I don't know. That's just such an enjoyable movie for everyone I know that's seen it and enjoyed it. It's like I haven't heard one person not like that movie. So
the franchise, they're good.
They messed that one up. That they're liable to mess anything up.
I think that's going to be James Gunn's last Marvel movie before he heads out. Or I guess he's already doing DC stuff, but I think that's his last Marvel movie.
Wouldn't it be funny if like the tables turn and DC starts releasing all the good movies and Marvel like does the bad movies now?
Yeah, I think that's actually what's going to happen. DC's just going to put out. I don't know if you guys saw the Flash trailer. That actually looks pretty good. We'll see. It could be trending that way for sure.
There's also superhero fatigue going on too. Like a lot of people are just like they can't get into this stuff anymore because it's just all superhero stuff all the time.
Speaking of superhero fatigue, we're going to talk about Samaritan in a little while. But I want to first start off the show talking about Hello Tomorrow, new show on Apple Plus. I was trying to find a description just so I can read it to anybody listening. Hello Tomorrow is a science fiction comedy. Okay. Yeah, I'm not getting much. Oh, wait. Let me see. Where's the plot? Yeah, the plot. Everywhere I look for the plot is always like a one-sentence summary. In a retrofuturistic world, a group of traveling salesmen tries to sell timeshares on the moon. So yeah, that kind of is the gist of it. It reminded me of a mix between like the Jetsons and a movie like Pleasantville. In the intro, they do a cool job of just like, a neighborhood shot of showing you how things work. There's like a kid with a jetpack. There's a lady on a chair that's also like doing her hair, like hovering across the street. The cars all hover. They have like an Amazon Express delivery kind of truck with a cartoon bird driving it. Dogs walking themselves. So really fun stuff. The aesthetic of everything is really cool. And I watched the first 2 episodes. What were your like initial impressions?
I watched the first episodes, and I thought it definitely got that feeling of Pleasantville, the movie, which was quite a while ago. And it also, I got right into the time frame immediately with the music. Right from the very start, I thought the robots are very cool. Where they were, I guess it was senior living. The main character was visiting, I guess his mother, and there was one guy in this hallway, and he'd be like in this floating wheelchair. So I'm not quite sure what time, what decade it is, because it seems like it's in the 50s or 60s, but then all these, they have a Roomba type robot, but it looks like it's from the 50s.
Yeah, it looks like it's running on like a diesel engine, right? They don't say where we are. They don't say when we are. I did want to talk about that a little bit. Pedro, I just want to get your thoughts on it first before we sort of jump into some talking points.
Yeah, I thought it was a great pilot episode. Top-notch world building. Kind of like sets you into the world right away from the first scene, in opening, like you said, where they're showing everyone, showing the neighborhoods, showing all the technology going on. And yeah, it's funny because just recently the thought popped into my head, like, oh, wouldn't a Jetsons live-action movie be cool? Like, that would look pretty cool. Like you said, this is basically that, cross between that and Pleasantville because of the sort of era and the look, but the Jetsons, all the futuristic technology. I thought the pilot episode set up a pretty cool story. Excited to see where it goes.
The pilot, so it opens with this guy. I wish it had a cold open. It actually opens with the credits first, but I wish it would have opened with a cold open of our main character, whose name is Jack Billings. He's like at a diner, and he's pretty much selling this guy who seems like down on his luck. He's pretty much like selling this dude, and he does a great job. That's a really good scene where he pretty much sells him like the C-Plex, home. I don't know what that is. We don't really see what they're selling, but I thought that was a great intro scene to what the show is. You pretty much find out that what they're doing or what he's doing is they're kind of like scamming people somehow. I don't know what the scam is, but he's basically selling dreams to to these people that they can get into a room, and then he has like a sales team of what's his name? Hank Azaria is one of the salespeople. He plays like a dude who's a gambler, and then two other folks. His team doesn't seem to be in on the scheme. They seem to be kind of like naive to the fact that I don't know if he's making this up or what's really going on. But at the end of the first episode, we find out when he goes back to visit his mom, we find out that that astronaut that is also supposed to be living on the moon is actually living in that same home that his mom is. It's like a home for the elderly.
They reveal it's a scam at the end, but without revealing too much. You
Right.
know, we know that the other salespeople seem like really good people, like nice people. So they're obviously not in on it. It seems like the only person so far we know that's in on it is the main character.
Yeah, he seems, and the guy who plays the astronaut, he seems to be just like a senile old person who doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, he seems to just be doing it for fun. Yeah.
I
I don't
couldn't tell. Is he
I don't
in
think he
on it,
knows
or
what
is
he's
he?
doing it for. I don't think he knows what he's doing it for or what it's being used for. I just thinks that this guy is just over here visiting and, spending time with him or something.
Yeah. I thought I was a little confused. I couldn't tell if he was in on it or if he was just like being friendly with the main character.
But we also don't know what's going to happen or what's happened to the people that have gone through and purchased, gone through with the
Right.
purchase. Because they showed that one family that did purchase it.
Well, that was the guy at the beginning.
Yeah. Him,
So
his daughter, and I guess a little kid. They were saying they were excited that they purchased it, but we don't know what's going to happen with them.
Yeah,
We don't
and
know
he's
anyone that has purchased it. We don't know we don't know if he's just taking their money at this point or if he's actually sending them somewhere that's like a closed off bubble location or something where they think they're on the moon. We don't know yet.
we don't know the scam.
It's everything's kind of being revealed little by little, but there also doesn't seem to be any side stories or plots or anything.
There's the main story with the scam. There's one side story is Hank Azaria's character. He has some kind of gambling debt with somebody, right? And then there's also the story with the guy's son, who he ends up hiring. He doesn't know that. So basically, Jack Billings, the main character, he has a son, an estranged son. He ends up hiring the son to work for him. The son doesn't know that that's his father either. And that's sort of like, I don't know, maybe his own personal mission to try to like reconnect that relationship somehow. That's also going on. So there's a couple of threads there. I have no idea where the show is going.
It's not as intricate as other shows where there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff
Right.
going on. Like if you just follow the main story, it's like that, and he hired this kid who's actually his son, but he doesn't want to reveal to him that he's the dad.
Yeah. It feels small, right? Everything. And when they go into a town, all you see is the hotel that they're staying in. You don't really see how big the world is. Everything does feel kind of small and intimate.
Maybe it's done like that on purpose, maybe decided that they want to do a 30-minute show and they don't want to venture off and complicate things. And yeah, it's easy to follow. It's not, you don't need to invest a lot of like brain power into this stuff.
I think we have to give it time because we've only we both have watched either one or two episodes, and the episodes I think it was interesting that the first three episodes were released at the same time. Then the fourth episode was then released the following week, and it seems like they're going to be consecutive, one episode each week. And just like with the show Severance, we had to wait to actually find out what the situation is, why they were going into an elevator, and then what was happening beyond entering and exiting the elevator. We had to wait. And it was a true investment to figure out, like, why are they in this room and working and pressing buttons? We had to wait. Just like with Lost, it was the same thing. we had to wait to figure out what actually happened. So
there's enough there to keep me watching. So, and I just like the fact that it's different, man. It's just different than anything else.
Yeah, aesthetically, they got me hooked. I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of a game called Fallout, which has like a very similar setting to this show, except it's post-apocalyptic, as most video games are. So I was really curious to see some of the similar technology, or just like retro futuristic brought to life in the show. Just really cool to see that kind of stuff happen.
Series trailer was awesome too. So once I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this.
Cool. Let's talk about Samaritan. Samaritan is a superhero movie on Amazon starring Sylvester Stallone. Pedro, you picked this for us to recommend that we watch this. It's probably been a couple of weeks since we all watched it, but why did you want to see it, you think?
Again, it's a movie that I saw the trailer for, and it looked like something different that I hadn't seen before. And, it struck me the right way. It's starring Sylvester Stallone in a superhero role, which is something you wouldn't expect. And it was just there, available on Amazon Prime. So I recommended it to you guys before I even saw it. So,
you were just having us go.
So it's not like, oh my God, I saw this
it.
movie, it's great. You guys got to watch it. It's like, hey, this movie's interesting. We should watch it and talk about it.
You saw Sylvester Stallone on a movie poster that had nothing to do with a wrestling ring.
No,
and
trailer.
You went, all right, let's watch this.
Yeah.
You checked it out of the boxing ring.
Yeah. It was cool, man. I liked it. Something different. Spin on your traditional superhero role and superhero character.
Yeah, it was good. I'll drop the quick synopsis. It's basically like this fictional world. The backstory is that there's two twin brothers who have superpowers. One of them decides to be a good guy. The other decides to be a bad guy after their parents perish in a fire. They get into a fight. They're both presumed to be dead, but then there's like this theory that the Samaritan, who's the good guy, is still alive. And he's ultimately played by Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. I thought it was going to be one of those movies where we just make fun of it the whole time, which I like those kind of movies. We watched one of those a couple weeks ago with now I can't remember the name. William Neeson. But it wasn't. It was pretty good. And I think my main takeaway is like Sylvester Stallone, who's like probably 70 plus, but you can still have him in an action scene and he holds it down. He does a really good job. He can still like fight off bad guys, and for a 70-year-old dude, I was really impressed.
As a tough guy and in action scenes, still believable. He still looks the part.
He still looks the part. It reminded me a little bit of that older Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called Maggie, where he plays like the father of a girl who becomes a zombie. It's like another one of these like really grounded, where you have like these 80 action heroes just playing someone their own age. And that's what Stallone was playing here. He was playing just like a regular 70-year-old dude living a low-key life. He happened to be a superhero, but I like that gritty feeling, right? He's wearing that bum out puffer jacket the whole movie.
Yeah, I like the setting of the movie. I guess it's near future, right? Kind of like
near future, current Detroit.
Yeah, inner city. Like it's I get the feeling that it's a little more near future because things have kind of like digressed a little more. It's a little grittier, a little grimier, more crime. Kind of like a little bit of a cyberpunk element being introduced, but not full blown like future cyberpunk.
Yeah. Like San Francisco 15 years from now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was, and I like that too. Everything's kind of gray. There's like, you feel like there's junkies everywhere, and like you might get stabbed if you just turn the corner, but there's still
Yeah,
like a working population trying to survive and keep shit
yeah,
moving.
yeah. And I like that the story is followed. We follow the story through this kid, so it kind of gives it like a little like adventure element. Like anytime, I don't know, for me, anytime a story in a movie follows a kid, it kind of has like that adventure feeling from like older like kids movies and stuff.
Yeah. And the kid is kind of, he's in this world, but he's being pulled in different ways. Like, his mom is working, so she's busy. She's trying to keep him in line going to school, but he's also like getting bullied, and he's getting lured by like the bad guy ultimately to, make some shady moves in order to make money, in order to help his mom. And then you got the Stallone character sort of trying to pull him the other way to be, a more decent kid.
Yeah, he's at the stage where he's like becoming a teenager. He's not a little kid anymore. He's getting faced with like tough choices.
Yeah, hanging out.
And I like that. I like that actor. I've seen him in like 2 or 3 other things recently. He's been in a couple recent things. I think he was in Utopia, which was a show.
Utopia,
that he was in. He's a good actor. I really like him.
Yeah, I think in Utopia he actually looks older, and I was reading that this movie was filmed before, and they had to pause it for COVID.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well that's why he looks older in Utopia. But yeah, he's a good actor. His mom, the woman who plays his mom, was actually in Poker Face in the first episode. She played the woman who got killed.
Yep.
I thought I had recognized
she
her
looked
too.
familiar, yeah.
And she was good. She's good in this too. Everybody's pretty good in this. The bad guy is a little over the top. Cyrus, his name is over the top. His look is he's just over the top.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. I like they're kind of introducing some little cyberpunk elements. Like these guys have like outfits and like haircuts and stuff.
Yeah, it in all of that, the way the film looks, the way the bad guy behaves, it reminds me of like a 90s movie.
Yeah.
Kind of like a RoboCop or like a Ninja Turtles, kind of like, how it's just those rough, foggy streets. You don't really see like, I don't know. It really got me.
And it's not like over the top. It's not like superheroes are flying and like dressed in costumes and like shooting lasers and stuff. It's more grounded in realism.
Totally. Stallone, I was just looking into his career. He, obviously he's huge in the 80s and 90s, but in terms of like him playing superheroes, he did play Judge Dredd.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that was the 90s. Probably still
late 90s.
95
or 96, yeah.
And then he had a small part in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And then he also did the voice in what is that DC movie with John Cena?
The John Cena movie, was that the Suicide Squad?
Yeah. The new one, like the revamp. It's same name, but it's just newer.
I thought I was getting distracted by the locations. I felt like a lot of it was shot on a back lot. It was like, I've never seen such a large back area of between 2 buildings. It was like a big playground between a bunch of buildings. I don't know where that is, but it looked like it was just enough space to put a garbage truck and have Sylvester Stallone take 2 kids and slam them against 2 garbage cans. And on either side and go, yeah. There was plenty of space for that.
They used Atlanta,
and it was shot in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, I think they must have had like a good deal on that back lot because they did use the hell out of that location.
Yeah.
Yes, plenty of friends in the area, just so that all the people who will be watching them doing the movie would be left out. Plenty of backlot stuff, it seemed like. And then randomly he was on top of a building with the kids, showing him how to do his fighting action. And it seemed like in the distance, it was like the backdrop of Philadelphia, and they just happened to be randomly on the perfect building top where you saw the highway, but it was in Atlanta, Georgia. But based on tax incentives.
Oh. A couple of the scenes look cheesy. it didn't take me out of the movie too much. The only scene that actually took me out of the movie immediately was when they CGI'd his face to make him look younger on the flashback scene.
That wasn't that good.
His face is very detailed as far as with all the different scrapes and all the, various times he was, slapped and punched. So it's not, he doesn't have the smoothest face. So they use a lot of blur effect.
Yeah, it looked weird.
Which made a baby scared.
I did like the plot twist, and I was kind of expecting it, but the plot twist of that reveals that he was actually Nemesis and not Samaritan the whole time. I thought that was pretty clever, and I thought that was just like sitting right there for them to use. So I'm glad they did that.
That was good. The movie definitely needed that. At that point, when he revealed it, it definitely like felt like, okay, that was needed.
It re-energized the movie at that point. Like, oh, things got interesting.
Yeah. One thing I think they did well is kind of keep Sylvester Stallone's part in the movie and his lines to a minimum. They didn't just make the whole movie him, just give him a bunch of lines and everything. They kept it as little as possible.
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to overdo it with this guy as a superhero and then the movie just looks bad and sounds bad or whatever.
And I think that worked to their advantage too, because you partner him with a kid who's like obsessed with him, because he thinks he's under the suspicion that this is his hero, and the kid is just like constantly talking, and he's just like trying to shrug him off. So I think there's like good chemistry there as him being like this brooding, kind of like quiet, isolated person, and then you have this curious kid just constantly in his face.
That's how you got to do it with some of these, I guess, older actors, people that you're taking a risk on. Just keep their lines to a minimum. Have them play their part, and the rest of the cast carry the storyline. Because he's just someone you want to watch like kick ass. You're not there to watch Stallone try to win an Oscar. You're there to just see him kick some ass.
Yeah.
Now Sylvester Stallone has a new show called Tulsa King. It's not that new. It came out in November. It's on Paramount Plus, which also seems like it's a gang. They call it the original gangster New Town, which it's a new Paramount Plus original. So it seems like Paramount Plus is trying to get people like, hey, we got a good show. Why don't you subscribe?
Yeah, I really want to watch that show. It seems like a role that is really befitting of him.
And the guy who plays the kid's teacher in Samaritan, I don't know if you remember. He was only in like a couple of scenes. He's the guy who's like really obsessed with Samaritan. I think he plays the kid's teacher or just like another fanatic. But he's also in Tulsa King. He's like I don't know who he plays, but he's probably like a comedic partner to Sylvester Stallone's character.
I found it also, this is just a little thing you probably didn't notice. There was an actor that his name is Moses Ares. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. His character's name was Reza. He was one of the quote unquote kids that was
the little guy with the dreads.
Yes. Okay. So he was in almost every Disney Channel show. So it felt like this was like his big comeback. Being in I think he's been in other things, but not a Sylvester Stallone like top level movie.
He looked familiar. I don't
know if you recognize.
I couldn't figure out where I've seen him before, but he looked familiar. But that whole look was like as a cloud rapper with the dreads and everything. And he was like such a tiny little dude, like with all these other big tough guys around. That was a kind of funny.
Yeah, I like that. I mean,
he definitely looked the part, man. It was funny, man. But I don't know where I've seen him before. Like the look definitely.
That's where you saw him.
He's on Disney stuff.
That's where he was in. I'll give you the whole 411. Okay, you ready? He was in Hannah Montana the movie. He was in Phoebe as in Verb. Wizards on Deck with Hannah Montana, and Wizards of Waverly Place, and other stuff. Anyway,
Okay, so he's on that Hannah Montana.
that were
wave.
Disney.
So he's old
Yes,
then.
you mix it all together, and you got the best of all the worlds. That's what it's about.
He's older then. He's not an actual kid if he's been in those things came out a while ago.
No, he's like 30.
Yes, most child actors are older than they look.
Yeah, he's definitely a memorable guy because he looks so. I mean, it's a good look for him in the movie. I'm not gonna lie.
It is, yeah.
He looks like a good bad guy, or like a good bully that you kind of need.
He definitely looks like the type that would bully a younger kid.
Yeah. Oh, there's a scene where they follow Samaritan down like a homeless alleyway, and I think he's just like Samaritan's just going home, or I can't remember what he's up to, but he's just walking solo, and there's literally like 10 people just following him, ready to jump him, but like he doesn't even notice. They're like 5 feet behind him. It leads to a really good scene where Stallone, this big dude, he throws a grenade, and Stallone like jumps over a car and pulls it to block the
car
explosion.
over, right? He flips the car to protect the lady or something.
Yeah, the kid from the explosion. That was really dope for like a basic special effect. I mean, it just shows like you don't need big budget to pull off some cool stunts. I thought that was really well done. My only gripe with this movie was I wish they would have dug a little deeper into the backstory and the drama with Nemesis and Samaritan. You don't really spend a lot of time sort of learning who these guys are, why they went their separate ways, why these two brothers went their separate ways.
Yeah, there wasn't really an explanation as to like how they exist, like how they got powers, how that exists in this world, how superheroes exist. That was definitely missing from this story.
I think there needed to be more of a character story arc. It was way too it was. I felt a little too obvious that Sylvester Stallone was going to have an interaction with, a connection with the kid. How many times did he have to run into him on the bus? Over and over. It's that that bus got him connected with him. Who's that kid? That I don't know. You just happened to be on that same bus
happened
line.
on that bus. That was the start of everything.
That bus. It's all about that bus.
Because he sees him originally getting bullied, right, and then he follows him to stop it.
And he gets off. I guess he gets off the bus to see what's going on.
Yeah, hey, it's a small town.
And then he happens to find where the kid lives. Because he sees him through the opposite window. They just happen also to live in side by side, apartments as well. If there's no coincidence, we just found a movie with plenty of them.
Does he also?
You could see into his window from his window.
Does he also work back there? Like, where was his job?
I think he worked as a garbage, on a garbage truck for garbage collection. That's what his, that's one of the main scenes in the trailer. But
that garbage, I feel like where he picks up the trash is also in that same backyard area between the two buildings. Or maybe they just...
He only works in that backyard area, I guess. Everything is in that square block. No, I think he goes... Yeah, it also is there too as well. We don't venture anywhere outside that area in the movie.
Yeah, I think they repurposed that lot for a couple of scenes.
Yes. Wait until you see their barbecue night. I'm sure it's incredible.
People pushing shopping carts, cars on fire.
Yes, and I know exactly who to call to get the trash removed.